The fifth book of the Bible has a rather odd name, Deuteronomy. What does that mean? Well, it's not taken from the Hebrew. It's actually taken from the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew. If you go to Deuteronomy 17 in the Greek version, there's a description of what the king is to do. He's to make a copy of the law. That's what the Hebrew has. But when that was rendered into Greek, it was rendered as Deuteronomion, which means a second law. And Deuteronomion was adopted into English as Deuteronomy, and that became the name by which it's known by English readers. But in Hebrew, it has a different title. It's called Devarim, which means words, and that's taken from the second word of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy begins in Hebrew, Ele HaDavrim. These are the words. These are the words which Moses spoke to the people of Israel. Now, when you go down to verse 5 of Deuteronomy, you read how Moses is going to explain or expound or clarify this Torah. And then he kind of begins with this explanation, amplification, clarification, preaching basically of the Torah. And this is an important moment for us to make a point about what the Torah is. So Torah has a number of different meanings. It can refer to these 5 opening books. It can refer specifically to the law, but the word itself simply means instruction, teaching. So there's a lot of confusion about this because a lot of people think that Torah simply means law or rule. It does not. Torah means instruction. It means teaching. And within the broad parameters of the Torah, that is the 5 books of Moses, there is plenty of other things besides law. You have just narrative. You have didactic narrative. You have poetry. You certainly have plenty of rules and statutes. You have some things which are specific to people. You have some things to individuals. You have some things which are related to the entire people of Israel. But in the Torah, you have God's instruction to us, in which he tells us about ourselves, he tells us about other people, and he tells us about who he is. So when you think about the Torah, just think instruction, think teaching, the teaching that God gives to us through various kinds of people, primarily Moses as the teacher of the Torah. Now, if you've been reading through the Bible with me, we are beginning Deuteronomy or Devarim today, and we'll be in it, I think, for 12 days. So if you haven't been following along with reading the Bible with me, then jump in. You can check the comments in this video, and there you will find the plan that we're using. It's the blended plan with the Blue Letter Bible app. So if you haven't been reading, then jump in and read along with us. What we're going to discover in Deuteronomy is Moses' kind of valedictory address. This is his swan song, if you will, call it what you want. This is right before he is to die outside the promised land, and then Joshua, of course, will take over and lead the people of Israel from there. And what Moses does in Deuteronomy is he's preaching the Torah. He's relaying some of the narratives from the past. He is talking about the requirements for Israel, the legal requirements for Israel. He's including poetry. There's a whole lot that's baked into Deuteronomy. And many have argued that it's the most explicitly theological books of the Torah. There's plenty of richness there. And so read it with me, enjoy it, and let God's word speak to you as you enjoy the gift of these Devarim, as these words from God to us.